In the first module of the Advanced Business Development Using Digital Tools section, we're going to talk about prospecting in the digital age. So how is sales prospecting changing in the digital media age? Well, for one thing, I don't think there's any reason to cold call strangers anymore. You don't have to play 20 questions and calling it a client needs analysis in that first meeting with a prospect anymore. What I call prospecting going forward is social prospecting. Because of search tools, monitoring tools, and social media tools, we can now know more about our individual prospect and their marketing needs than ever before we ever even meet them, before we sit down with them face to face. So that way we can actually really learn what are their specific marketing needs. So that way, because we're selling so many different advertising products now, that we can come up with the right mix that is going to maximize their success for every dollar that they spend with us at your local media organization. Social prospecting is also about sharing lots of research, marketing information with your colleagues, with your prospects and your clients, because this is the new currency to get conversations going, to get them sparked. And the more that you share, the more that you'll get. So as I always say, I think our instinct in sales is always to ask for a proposal, ask for a meeting, ask for a contract to be signed. And now it's about giving. It's switching our brain. It's about being more social, starting conversations, sharing information that will gain trust, build relationships, and of course, generate sales for yourself and your local media organization. So many of us have already realized that cold calling just isn't working like it once did. So we really need to start thinking about some other business development alternatives. I'm not saying that you're never going to cold call again, but there are ways that we could be doing it more effectively, more strategically as part of our sales toolkit, in addition to adding some other digital sales tools. This is one of my favorite quotes in terms of social media. This is from Pete Cashmore, the CEO of Mashable.com. Privacy is dead and social media hold the smoking gun. Now that sounds very scary from a consumer perspective, but it's very intriguing from a sales perspective because of social media, we can learn more about our prospects than ever before we even meet them or even get on the phone to call them, which is going to help you become a better marketing consultant in their eyes. Because you have so many great tools to do your research homework now. Client needs analysis occurs, now you might say, during the meeting. And that was true, over the last couple of decades. And these are a lot of great questions that are all about the interactive marketing needs of a client. But client needs analysis now should occur mostly before the meeting, not during it. Because what you want to show your client is that you've actually done your homework, you know about their business, because nothing ticks off a business owner or local advertising more than a local media rep who comes in there and knows absolutely nothing about their business. There's no excuse anymore. And also, you're going to use that first meeting to fill in the gaps of your research that you did on your own online. So you're going to be asking very insightful and smart questions, which is also going to impress your prospect. So let's go over some of the social prospecting goals for this module. How to find a personal connection and why you want to find a personal connection for every single business and prospect you want to call on. How to search for your clients' measure for success, how they're going to judge the value of their marketing campaign. How to define your client's marketing goal. And finally, how to identify your client's sales cycle. So that way you could be calling on them and reaching out to them at the exact moment that they're going to be thinking about spending money on advertising and marketing. First, let's talk about the importance of finding a personal connection. Think about it. If you can find a personal connection inside of any business, advertiser, company that you want to call on, that is going to accelerate your sales process because it's part of building that instant rapport. And also what I love about personal connections, that there is kind of built-in social pressure for that mutual connection to respond to your email or your phone call. So let's talk about some ways of how you can find personal connections. Probably the easiest way to find a personal connection these days to any business you want to call on is just by searching your LinkedIn profile. Recently, I wanted to contact somebody at Boloco, a local burrito chain here in Boston. And lo and behold, when I typed in Boloco into LinkedIn, I was 2 connections away from John Pepper, the CEO and co-founder. That's unbelievable. And you'll surprise yourself how many different decision makers that you're already connected to at the highest level of many of the business and companies and advertising agencies that you want to call on. So that is just one way to find a personal connection. I'd scan your Facebook page, your personal, or if you have a separate business one set up, absolutely great tool. But I think LinkedIn is going to be your your first pass, but definitely scan your Facebook page as another way to find personal connections. Of course, we don't have to do everything digital. Just ask around the office. Ask your colleagues if they know anybody that they've called on in the past to see if they can help you out. Get to that right person. Always ask for client referrals. This is another great way to generate personal connections. And once again, you want to find other clients of yours, other advertisers that have had great success with you so that they can sell you. That's going to be your best advocates. I'd also jump into conversations on Twitter. Just type in the name of an advertising category and the name of your market or a business group and see what people are talking about, because Twitter is, it's like eavesdropping in on conversations. What are people talking about in terms of these different needs and these different advertising categories? How are those companies and businesses talking to them? This is going to reveal a lot of different marketing opportunities and ways to connect with personal folks. That way you can actually comment when you finally connect with that person about a tweet that you might have liked or some ideas that you had as a result of reading one of their tweets. Now let's talk about finding your client's measure for success. Now, how are they going to judge the success of any advertising that they buy from you? Because oftentimes we sell our internal metrics. That's what we think that they're buying, whether it's ratings, impressions, etc. But that's not so. They all have their own unique metrics, and that's what we have to dig out to see what we can find in advance of our first meeting with them. So let's check out some ways to do that. One, just look on their website. So here's a lot of different digital measures for success for this one ice cream company. This is actually based in Boston. So mobile, that could be what their measure for success, that they want to drive people to adopt their mobile application or go to their mobile website, or a lot of local businesses now have mobile affinity cards, as is the case with this particular ice cream chain. Another is email. Very simple. A lot of local businesses are savvy enough to understand to capture email addresses from their customers, so that way they can keep in touch with them. So these are another great digital measure for success. And obviously social media has come on strong, signing up for Facebook, signing up for their Pinterest board, their Twitter feed, etc. So these are all examples of a digital measure for success. Even if you're selling them traditional advertising, these are great digital calls to action that will show them that the advertising that they're buying from you is working, because it's helping gather more emails, more social media followers, and more mobile phone numbers. The measure for success for many local advertisers and small businesses is my phone ringing. For the advertising I just bought from a newspaper, radio station, television station, to get my phone to ring. And that's okay. And here we can see that this phone number is featured on this assisted living website as their measure for success. And that's how many small businesses are still going to judge the success of their campaign. So just be conscious of that, and what is the best way to bring a phone number as a call to action throughout any traditional advertising and digital advertising that you might be selling a local business or advertiser. And I've actually gone on calls with AEs talking to assisted living centers, and the number one call to action for an assisted living center is really getting them to call them. They've told me that as soon as they get somebody calling them, asking them about what it's like, to see if they could schedule a visit for their mom and dad, they know they have them, because once they give a tour and see the environment that they are going to be researching for their mom or dad, they know that they're going to be able to sell them. So, it's different for every advertising category, but phone number still works perfectly for assisted living. All right, next in our social prospecting goals, we're going to talk about defining the client's overall marketing goal. Are they just branding? Are they starting a new product or service? Do they have a sale? What is it at this point in time that they're trying to achieve? You can easily find a marketing goal on a prospect's website. But for this particular furniture website, just going to their homepage, and I noticed, a yard sale, very creative. They're selling fabric, 25% off fabric. So this is something that I might want to talk to them about. What else are they doing to call attention to this particular sale? And if it's just their website or their social media presence, maybe that's not enough, because by advertising in the newspaper, directories, television, radio, we can reach a much wider audience. And that's our role in traditional media, to drive a specific goal like that. So I'm also, it never ceases to amaze me how many local media sellers don't take the time to visit a prospect's website, because anybody who's been in this business 10 plus years would have died for sales research like this, because a homepage of any business, it's telling you what they're marketing, how they want to be perceived in the world. So this is, if it takes you less than 30 seconds just to visit a prospect's website, please do so before you get on the phone or send an email to any one of them. You're going to get a lot of great marketing ideas. Now, visiting this particular auto dealer website, click here for a 30-second credit application and drive a new car home today. So that, is a very specific call to action that can easily be expanded into any form of traditional or digital advertising campaign. So very specific advertising opportunity. Another local business kind of selling gifts and clothing, quirky things. They have a couple of different calls to action I might want to talk to them about. They have a shipping offer for online purchases, and they have a clearance, a very big sale. So these are two different things I would want to talk to them about. What is more important? What's going to drive more sales for them? Getting people to come into their store or getting more people to go onto their website? And finally, let's talk about identifying the client sales cycle, because the sales cycle is different for every business, every advertising category, and they want to advertise at very specific times of the year when people are most likely to be thinking about their product or service so they can get the most bang for their buck. So we want to identify the time period for the strongest sales and need for marketing. And I'm going to tell you why, because so many local sellers will ask me, Stephen, what are your secrets to get clients to close on a sale, or how can I close on a sale? And I'll tell you that it's this: finding out when they need to spend their marketing dollars. So for a garden center, they have to start advertising late February, March in most parts of the United States to really tap into when most people are going to start thinking about gardening again or wanting to buy those materials. And when you actually identify that time, that deadline of when is the best time for that business to be marketing, I actually would recommend including it in the proposal and even the contract to say this is the optimum time to be advertising. So that way it puts that pressure onto that client in that proposal that they have to pull the trigger because this is the optimum moment for them to be doing advertising. So that way you don't have to languish for months on end wondering if they're going to buy something from you or not. You can actually just, if they don't buy something, from you that particular year, well, you can go back and visit them next year. But this is a great way to actually put more of that pressure to close the sale on your prospect and take it off of you. This is fantastic. If you really want to understand the sales cycles for almost any advertising category, lifehacker.com puts out every single year the best time to buy anything. So this is for consumers, but from a sales perspective, we're going to work backwards from that. So for example, in January, if it's the best time to buy carpeting and furniture, we want to work backwards 3 to 4 months. So we want to be calling on those types of prospects in the early to mid fall. So that way we know that this is a time that they should really be marketing, because particularly with the furniture category, furniture retailers, they introduce new products and a couple of services probably too in January and in August. So these are two really important months for furniture retailers to be advertising. As another example, cruises in April. So we would want to be talking to those types of, if you had a local travel agency, you might want to be talking to them in December. Once again, we see furniture pop up in the third quarter in July. Appliances in October and November. So we want to be talking to those advertisers in the early to midsummer. So you always want to be talking to advertisers 3 to 4 months ahead of the optimum time that they should be buying marketing from you. And this is a great way to be selling in an insightful way, anticipating those marketing needs rather than being the local media seller that's flipping through the newspaper or listening to radio. Say, oh, that's an advertiser I want to call on. Well, they're already spending their advertising dollars, so you missed the boat on that. So you have to do it well in advance, and this is a way to do that by understanding their sales cycles. And just another couple of examples. According to Lifehacker, February, best time to buy furniture. We already talked about January, August. March is the best time to buy sandals. A lot of women are starting to think about what they want to add to their wardrobe in the spring and summer. June, the best time to buy dishware. Why? Because a lot of people get married in June, and a lot of people are going to buy them dishes and flatware, etc., as gifts. So we would want to be talking to those types of retailers in midwinter, early spring. Now let's quickly review our social prospecting goals. Number one, we want to find a personal connection. If you can find a personal connection or a mutual connection inside of any business or company that you want to call on, you will close more sales. Number two, you always want to search for that measure for success. specifically a digital measure for success. Do you think that business is looking to gather more mobile numbers, social media followers, emails, or even convert on a special offer? Number 3, you want to define that client's marketing goal. Are they opening a new location? Are they introducing a new product or service? Are they having a sale? What is something going on their website that you can bring to a much larger audience through all your advertising channels? And finally, identifying that client sales cycle as we just described. Up next, we're going to talk about social prospecting tactics and tools that you can use to gather all that information that we just discussed.